often that Chappelle is finding banana peels flying his way while he's on stage, but this certainly isn't the first time he's dealt with a frustrated audience. Back in 2013, Chappelle closed the show only 10 minutes into the act due to a constant heckling from the audience in Hartford, Connecticut. The banana peel tossing incident comes as Chappelle tries to reignite his comedy career. He has been making a gradual return over the past 2 years after he abandoned his Comedy Central show in 2005 before taking off to South Africa.
You saw
That
that
was
thing? You saw the thing with the Obamas, right?
Oh, where they extended their faces.
Yeah.
Who did that, though?
A Belgian newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
And then they apologize. And then they say if you should do anything like that in the future, please call us and let us know. Inform us that. So here is this, since you piqued my interest, here is this guy talking about a Jewish man proclaims that black people are the original Jews. This is...
The average woman is not into nutrition. I saw her the day she came in the gym. Yeah, she was so fine. What was it like marrying a black lady? You white? Well, Jewish. We're the original black people. Let me Google you. Adam was a black man. Married to a black woman. I never thought I would marry outside of my nationality. But she's Dominican. I'm all the way black. With the carbon copy if you guys
You don't know.
Okay. What were you trying to yield from that?
No. I just felt that I thought this guy was going to talk about. He said a Jewish man proclaims that black people are the original Jews on the sisterhood.
Well, I mean, what do we?
To me, it doesn't make any. What's the big deal?
That's sort of my point. I mean, why?
I don't see the big deal. To be honest with you, I really don't see the big deal. But go ahead.
My problem with these people who have to dig up ancient history to justify the greatness of black people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just have a problem with that.
But you know what? But we have to. Marcus Garvey said, "A people without knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots."
Okay, and?
We need to know our past history.
Yes, but our past history is also, people who were farming, people who, were communal, people who didn't have to deal with kings and people who lived in small villages. And so, to me, what happens is that, everyone's history has been sort of whitewashed and...
No.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Let me say what I say by that.
Okay.
For example, European history. Yeah?
Whitewashing in a positive way.
Yeah. 98% of the people were poor, peasants, serfs. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But the history is told about the kings and the lords and all of that stuff.
So the history will enhance.
It's never a people's history, like Howard Zinn would tell you, to know that the majority of people were, in a virtual state of slavery until they got here. I mean, if their lives were so great in Europe, they wouldn't have left, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, but, they'll think about kings and queens and castles and princesses and all of that stuff, and that was just such a teeny-weeny, oppressive minority of people. Okay, so when we know that, we wonder why when you know that, you don't know why they're celebrating this oppressive part of people, the people who, took advantage of them.
But Who was celebrating them?
They celebrate that, with the thoughts of princesses and knights and all of that other stuff.
Okay.
And it's really an oppressive history. It's a bad story.
But then people are
Wait a
going to
minute.
tell
And
you.
so what we do is, so they've got that, and then you'll hear black people who'll say stuff like, well, we had kings and queens too. And that's like saying, okay, we had people who also oppressed us. So, I mean, and so you want to sort of take on their idea of what's great. So we take on their idea of what's great. Yeah? And I sort of see that same kind of thing happening, when people say, well, we're the original Jews. So here's the story of a guy, Abraham. You're reading the Bible, and they've got some really crazy stories in the Bible, right? In the Bible it says, go in there and kill those people because I gave you this land. Do I want to, would I want to claim to be a part of that? If you talk about thinking critically, why do I want to take on that story? Why? And what black people? We've got people from all over. And so these Jews, from everything we know, came from around the city-state in Mesopotamia, and their God, Yahweh, Elohim, whatever you want to call him, told them, I'm your God, and I got a place for you over there on the other side of that desert in Canaan. And you're going to go in there. You're going to take that place from those people. They're always given credit for being monotheist, but they were monotheist in the sense that we have a God, and it's our God, and he likes us, and he has chosen us. Would I want to claim to be a part of that? Why would I want to be a part of that? And so when people, let's co-opt somebody else's messed up story. You know what I mean? To me, that's the way I see it. And I tried to look at it in other ways, but in my historical dialectical brain, that just doesn't make sense. So I can know, I don't know, and I should go ahead and do a DNA test before it's too late. So I can find all the places in Africa that I could claim. And
Suppose you don't find any.
I have to, because my hair is nappy and I'm
Suppose you
brown.
don't find any. Suppose you find that it's in the Caribbean.
You can't say that, Anselm. That doesn't make sense.
Why not?
Because
So you think that every single one of those people in the Caribbean came from Africa?
I would say that.
What about if they came from Spain? What about if they came from France?
But you can't say it's going to be traced back to the Caribbean. It would be traced back to its original root. Just like you, if you were to take some kind of DNA test, you would be not traced back to Trinidad. You wouldn't be traced to Trinidad. You wouldn't even be traced to Haiti, where your people might have come from. You would be traced back to some African place, because that's the origin of your gene.
So you're saying there's no original people from Trinidad?
The original people, the Taino, Arawak, whatever you want to call those people, those people,
Indian and Arawaks,
whatever you want to call them,
Caribs and Arawaks.
Those are the original people, and from what we know, the majority of that population was decimated, and that's why they brought over Africans to do the work.
Okay,
Indians.
Let me read what Marvin says. This kid is so intelligent. He wrote something, right? And then he says, "Don't read yet. Let me fix typos."
I don't blame. I'm like that. It takes me a long time to write, but I wouldn't send it out.
He says, "This is how I see it. In modern times, all institutions of higher learning are stepping their game up to compete with traditional tertiary powerhouses. Mm-hmm. It has now come down to the skills, competencies, and transferable skills that one developed through university." This kid is, you see how the kid is already writing?
Keep going, let me get his point. Mm-hmm.
A perfect example of this is in England, where the highly acclaimed Oxford and Cambridge, although being arguably the two best universities in the English-speaking world, students with an econ degree from schools such as London School of Economics and University of Warwick — he had to put University of Warwick in there because he's going to University of Warwick, you know, are in much higher demand than economics major from Oxford and Cambridge. He's actually speaking the truth. This is because the economics department are well funded and a lot of resources have been allocated to this department. A lot more emphasis is placed on creating very specific types of economics, such as investment bankers, development economists, etc. Thus, these students are able to better apply themselves in the workplace. In essence, and here is his closing point, going to an Ivy League gets you the interview, but what you have to offer aligns you the job.
There you go.
So, I mean, yeah, it's just this is a kid from one of the poorest areas in Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, dirt poor, where I grew up, and just what he wrote here, like one paragraph, and easy to understand, right?
Yeah, and so. What's so remarkable about that?
What do you mean by what's so remarkable?
If the kid
coming from the poorest area, and you think that's, and the kid is he has outdistanced himself from the climate and the poverty and everything else to rise above all of that, because most of the people in the community, right, don't end up being like him. So he have to rise above seeing people being shot, gangsters, rise above wanted to join a gang. It's a lot.
I don't know. I guess I think you see things in a backward way.
Yeah, I think you do sometimes.
When I say that, though, I would expect everyone to be like him. And
no, everyone is not like him.
I didn't finish my sentence.
Yeah.
Everyone to be like him.
But you can't say you expect everyone to...
gangsters and people who are killing and murdering and, undereducated, I see them as the outlier rather than the norm. I would expect everyone to be just as great. It is...
But your expectation might not be the reality.
No, of course it's not.
So,
but it's like, Miss, did I get this right? I'm not going to say if you got it right. Yeah, you got it right. I'll say something if it's wrong. But if you got it right, it's supposed to be right. And a lot of people, and I think this kid is one of them, Marvin. Yes,
Marvin. Yeah.
Is somebody who has to be stroked like that. He knows he's all that.
He might be an outlier.
Well, I'm sure he is. In the scale of things. But to say the norm is that our children can't think.
No, I'm not.
Do you understand? I want you to understand what my point is, huh? That people see that is the norm. I can hear myself very well.
Yeah.
People see that is the norm. But I think the genius amongst us is the norm, and the outlier is the dummy.
Well,
and I think that those people who are violent and not well educated,
I don't know how
there's an explanation for it, and I think that's just the natural black man that we're all supposed to have. We're all supposed to breed people like that.
Well. The goal is to have more like this, like him. Mm-hmm. But it's not easy because some people want quick money. Like he has to go to England. He has to go to school for 4 years. Some people are telling themselves, "Man, you crazy? I don't want to take that long. I want to get that now."
Well, that's a problem with many people. I was looking at this thing, Ruby Payne, and, based on social class, how you see things. And some people are able to delay rewards, and other people have an immediate need to be rewarded immediate. And it's a sign of maturity. And for whatever reason, be that his great genetic qualities or his parents or, he's able to rise above his circumstances and live the life that he should live. He's living the life he should live. So congratulations, Marvin.
So you think people don't post stuff for people to look at them? Look.
Is that a runner?
Yeah.
She looks like look like the wall in Guyana. Is that what that is?
No. I think that's in Massachusetts somewhere. Yeah, people just post their picture, People like to post their picture. I want to ask you a question. I want to do something, but I like to get people's opinion. I have something that calls post the last selfie of yourself. right? Because people love posting